Right now at 5, authorities in southwest Missouri respond to a rollover crash on the Oklahoma-Missouri state line.
And after our thunderstorms yesterday, more pop-up storms turning into scattered storms on the horizon. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, sad news from Hollywood. Actor Robert Redford has died at age 89.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's now Wednesday, September the 17th. And so yesterday we had those pop-up storms again.
Yes.
But they did become severe. We had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. That's something I touched on when we got into pop-up storm season, that occasionally they can reach low-grade severe levels, even when we don't have severe risk areas highlighted. And that is what happened yesterday. Some gusty winds, some hail out there, and it's still a possibility. Let's first start with our live look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Got a lot to go over, so we've got some rain rolling in today into tomorrow. But again, they occasionally can reach low-grade severe status simply because pop-up storms are not that dissimilar from springtime severe storms in terms of the fact that they're typically isolated and they can tap into a bit more energy than any other, regular storms can. And so we did get a couple of severe storms. So again, today, we have no severe risk areas highlighted, but after what we saw yesterday, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just the overall risk is extremely low, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. Skywatch Storm Tracker for us is clear. What we're watching is this complex of storms because you see the outflow boundaries coming off of this thing. Watch the outflow boundaries and then watch the storms develop behind it, and those outflow boundaries are pushing south and east. So we'll see if they can trigger additional storm development this morning. Now, right now, it's not expected to, but at the same time, here with this rain activity we've had over the last few days off and on, it hasn't all gone exactly as planned. So we'll watch those outflow boundaries because they can trigger new storms, and if they hold on and could get into our area this morning, then we could have some storms earlier than what Future Track is showing right now, which again, most of us, we're going to be dry unless we get something off those outflow boundaries until about 4 o'clock today. And we'll start again initially isolated pop-up storms, but as we go later into the evening and into the overnight, we'll start to see more scattered storms across the area, bringing rain chances to more of us, but not necessarily to all of us. Temperatures were at 66 in both Joplin and Pittsburgh right now, and across the region, another fairly mild start. The majority of us into the mid to upper 60s. You have some cooler spots down south. Bonita, for example, sitting at 62. It looks like Yates Center, rather, is the warm spot at 68 degrees this morning. Kids heading out the door. Again, we'll watch those outflow boundaries and see if they trigger any new development. And like I said, it's not expected to, but that doesn't mean it can't. We're going to go mid-60s, partly cloudy. By lunch and recess time, we'll go into the upper 80s to close to 90. And as we head home, we're going to be going right around the low 90s out there. It's where our highs are headed for today as well. Mid-70s by 9, upper 80s by noon. Low 90s for our highs. Winds expected to be calm. And we'll have those pop-up storm chances again building in after 4 o'clock, gradually increasing again as we head to the late evening and overnight hours. We'll talk more about those thunderstorm chances and how they're shaping up for Thursday and what our weekend's looking like here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. Well, authorities in Crawford County bring charges against a mother and son following a stolen vehicle investigation. The charges stem from an incident that happened Monday morning when authorities responded to a crash at the intersection of Locust and Jefferson in Pittsburgh. The collision involved a Ford Fusion and a Toyota 4Runner. While authorities were investigating the crash, they received a call from a person claiming their coworker had stolen their Ford Fusion. That person, identified as Terrain Williams, as the thief. Now, when officers began questioning Williams about the theft, he took off on foot. The chase ended at a residence on East Adams Street, where Williams began to throw heavy objects at the officers. Williams also claimed to have a gun and threatened to shoot officers. His mother, Denise Kimball Hicks, then arrived on scene and moved toward officers, yelling at them. Officers told her numerous times to stay back, but Kimball Hicks refused. They then took her into custody. Williams also refused to surrender, leading officers to deploy a taser. Once tased, Williams was taken into custody. Authorities charged Kimball Hicks with interfering with a law enforcement officer. Authorities issued multiple charges against Williams, including criminal damage to property, interference with law enforcement, and use of a deadly weapon. Authorities respond to a two-vehicle crash on the Oklahoma-Missouri state line yesterday morning. The crash happened around 7:30. One vehicle rolled over onto the driver's side. The other vehicle ended up in the passing lane. Joplin police say one person suffered minor injuries. That individual was taken to an area hospital. Well, actor, director, and producer Robert Redford has died at the age of 89. Redford was one of the industry's most bankable leading men for half a century and one of the world's most recognizable and beloved movie stars. Redford made hearts beat faster in romantic roles such as Out of Africa, got political in The Candidate and All the President's Men, and skewered his golden boy image in roles like the alcoholic ex-rodeo champ in The Electric Horseman and middle-aged millionaire who offered to buy a sex in indecent proposal. He used the millions he made to launch the Sundance Institute and Festival in the 1970s, promoting independent filmmaking. Redford never won the Best Actor Oscar, but his first outing as a director, the 1980 family drama Ordinary People, won Oscars for Best Picture and Best Director. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. UN investigators find reasonable grounds that Israel committed 4 acts of genocide. Plus, score 1 for health checkups for Joplin Elementary students helps medical students get a leg up on their education. And we're tracking scattered storms in the 4 states. Chris has a look at our Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Time now, 5:06. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, Israel says it has launched the main phase of its offensive to destroy Hamas in Gaza's largest city. Residents of Gaza City tell CBS News they're facing heavy and relentless bombings. The escalation comes as the United Nations panel levels new allegations of genocide, claims Israel strongly denies. CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab reports from London.
Israel's military has started what it's called the main step of its ground invasion of Gaza City, where entire neighborhoods have already been reduced to ruins and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been forced to flee. It comes as Israeli leaders have reacted angrily to the UN Commission of Inquiry's genocide report, denouncing it as, quote, distorted and false.
The report relies entirely on Hamas falsehoods, laundered and repeated by others.
Investigators found, quote, reasonable grounds that Israel has committed 4 of the 5 acts of genocide under the 1948 UN Convention.
The goal of the Israeli government is abundantly clear as we continue to witness the destruction of Palestinians in Gaza. The Commission finds it is genocide.
The 4 acts Israel is accused of committing since the start of the war with Hamas following the brutal 2023 October 7th attacks include killing members of a group, causing them serious bodily and mental harm, deliberately inflicting conditions calculated to destroy the group, and preventing births. The report not only cites the pattern of conduct by Israeli forces as evidence of, quote, genocidal intent, but also the statements of Israeli leaders by alleging Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Isaac Herzog, and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant have all, quote, incited the commission of genocide.
And a number of international and Israeli human rights groups and scholars have also accused Israel of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This while the International Court of Justice is hearing a case that accuses Israeli forces of genocide, a case Israel has called wholly unfounded and based on bias and false claims. Imtiaz Tayyab, CBS News, London.
A number of international and Israeli human rights groups and scholars have also accused Israel of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This while the International Court of Justice is hearing a case that accuses Israeli forces of genocide, a case Israel has called wholly unfounded and based on bias and false. Well, still to come, Noah Wiley wins his first Emmy Award for The Pit and heads back to Pittsburgh for season 2. Plus, tracking scattered storms, Chris has another look at your forecast. A holiday love letter to Baltimore hits the big screen, and a first-time Emmy-winning actor gets back to work. Gwen Baumgardner has your eye on entertainment.
Actor Noah Wyle is back in Pittsburgh shooting the second season of the hit drama The Pit following his big night at the Emmy Awards.
Noah Wyle.
Wiley nabbed his first ever Emmy Sunday for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for his work on the realistic medical series, while the show itself won for Outstanding Drama Series.
There was a real identification with these characters. Our job is just to say where would they be 10 months later and who are they now after what they've been through.
Season 2 of The Pit premieres in January of next year. Fresh off the surprise release of Swag 2, Justin Bieber is returning to the big stage at next year's Coachella Music Festival. The pop star was just announced as one of the headliners, along with Sabrina Carpenter and Karol G. A first for all three artists. Coachella kicks off next April in the California desert, but tickets go on sale Friday.
Open your mouth. Hello.
And a dental emergency on Christmas Eve leads to an unexpected adventure and romance in the indie rom-com The Baltimoreans.
I overheard you talking to your daughter, and I know you don't have plans. Let's go.
The film, directed by Jay Duplass, explores divorce, addiction, and redemption. It's loosely based on actor and comedian Michael Strassner's own sober journey.
A lot of the dialogue that we kind of found is stuff that I told Jay in a lunch, about how I got sober.
The Baltimoreans is in theaters now. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, let's take it over now to Chris for a quick look at today's forecast.
Yeah, we again are dry to start the day, keeping an eye on some storms off to our northwest. More storms expected later today and tonight, as well as for Thursday. We'll go over the full details of your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now is 5:17. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:19 now on this Wednesday morning. Start with the fog trackers. We do have some patchy fog out there. We've got reduced visibilities, Parsons and Pittsburgh and down around Grove. And we do have other reduced visibilities out there, but those are where they are the lowest. And just immediately west of Parsons, you can see those visibilities drop off a little bit more. So you all at home know the drill. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. And slow down. Give yourself time to get where you're going. Skywatch Storm Tracker here is empty. But what we are watching, you see this outflow boundary? See how they're thickening up a bit? We're getting actual rain building along these. Outflow boundaries come off of lines of storms. So traditionally, when those lines of storms are beginning to wind down just a bit, they push energy down, push out the outflow boundary, and then you can get new development along it. We are getting new development immediately behind the outflow boundaries, but they are holding their own, and they are getting closer to our neck of the woods. So while the data this morning said that this activity would be dying out and would not make it to our area, it's going to set the stage for storms later. We want to watch those outflow boundaries because they are holding their own, and they could trigger storm development this morning, especially in the southeast Kansas, that may or may not have necessarily shown up on future track data this morning. So it's something we're going to keep an eye on for you. I'm not expecting anything severe, but as we discussed earlier, I didn't mention it yesterday, and that's my fault. That's on me. When we got into pop-up storm season in June, I used to touch on the fact that those pop-up storms can occasionally reach low-grade severe levels, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday. We had some severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of Cherokee and Ottawa counties yesterday evening with those storms that developed east of Joplin and slowly drifted to the west. So they can occasionally reach low-grade severe status even when there is no severe risk areas highlighted, and that's the case we have today. No severe risk areas are highlighted, but we still want to watch those storms. Now, initially, around 4 o'clock or so, we start with some scattered pop-up storms out there. And as the evening progresses, we'll start to see more organized shower and thunderstorm development overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. So these will still be scattered. You can see it's not rain everywhere all at once, but we will have scattered storms, and they will continue through the first half of our Thursday. By the lunch hour, we see a few more of these scattered showers and thunderstorms out there, and you can just see they just persist. persist. We have that cold front coming through. It doesn't do a lot for our temperatures, but it does help a bit. And just the cloud cover and the rain will help. By 9, most of the activity now east of the 69 corridor, and then we'll start to clear out. And we still could get a couple of isolated pop-up storms on Friday. But again, there's some mixed data on what exactly we may see as we head into Friday afternoon and evening. Here's what we've got for starting our day out there. Upper 60s to near 70 to start the day. Partly cloudy skies, mid-80s again by 11. I guess that's the one nice thing is these temperatures, honestly, when I've updated these graphics each day this week so far, they haven't really changed a lot from the hourly data and with our highs. We're going to go low 90s today. After 4, scattered showers are, well, initially pop-up storms, then eventually transitioning to scattered showers and thunderstorms through the evening and overnight hours, bringing us back down to the mid-60s tonight. We'll go upper 80s tomorrow, pretty close to normal Friday, and then we'll continue warm back up this weekend. I talked to you yesterday. The data was suggesting we might get close to 90, and that seems to be the trend at this point. So we may heat back up a bit this weekend. And next week, while we're still above normal, at least we're not at the 90-degree range. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, young students become patients for a day as Joplin 5th graders help train the next generation of doctors at KCU Med. The students are on the campus of KCU Med in Joplin for Score One for Health. They're getting a full head-to-toe checkup. Now, this checkup is performed by second-year medical students and second-year dental students. The med and dental students are looking for any abnormalities. The process gives them a chance to examine a live human.
Because it's a great opportunity for them to have an actual physical encounter with taking care of human beings. Because the first 2 years of their medical school is mostly spent in a classroom learning, all the important things about being a doctor.
Now, if any abnormalities are found, the children will be referred to either the dental clinic or a primary care physician in the area for follow-up. Losing weight through exercise may be better for cardiovascular health than losing weight with medications. A University of Copenhagen study found that people who maintain their weight loss through regular exercise reduce their development of atherosclerosis, which is a leading cause of heart attack and strokes. Researchers say the weight loss drugs called GLP-1s also reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, but exercise is vital to maintain the health benefits of weight loss. And taking opioids for pain during pregnancy likely does not raise the risk of autism and ADHD in children later in life. A Swedish study of more than 1 million children found there's little evidence to the claim opioid use by expecting mothers can cause ADHD or autism in their unborn children. The study's authors say more research is needed on whether extremely high doses of opioids can cause neurodevelopmental conditions. Well, a new study uncovers a link between problem gambling and suicide in young people. Research by the University of Bristol found among 20-year-olds, problem gamblers had quadruple the risk of attempting suicide compared to people who don't gamble. Now, with gambling more accessible than ever before, researchers say more needs to be done to prevent young people from gambling addiction. Well, a growing number of American parents are becoming more skeptical about vaccinating their children against some diseases. That's according to a poll conducted by the Washington Post and health researchers at KFF. Excluding vaccines for COVID and flu, it found 1 in 6 parents had skipped polio or MMR vaccines, which protect against measles, mumps, and rubella for their children. Now, those parents cited concerns about side effects and perceived risk from the shots themselves.
When it's public health policy, we have people who have been doing research in vaccines for years and years. And yes, you can question science. I'm all about questioning science. But these vaccines have been used for years.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vaccine skeptic, has continued to raise doubts about vaccine safety and effectiveness. He revamped CDC advisory panel is set to meet later this week to make recommendations for who should get COVID shots. Well, there's a new study out on medications used to treat the symptoms of menopause. As CBS's Nikki Batiste reports, it could help women weighing the benefits against the risk.
This is my best friend. It's my fan.
Hot flashes.
It's called Fanny.
And sleepless nights are disrupting Isabel Kalman's life.
I keep her in my bag and just to cool myself off when I need to.
At 53, Kalman's symptoms are part of perimenopause, the phase before menopause when a woman's hormones start to decline. The most common medication is hormone therapy, which uses estrogen and, if needed, a progestin to alleviate symptoms.
Are you considering it?
I am. I've been on the fence about it.
Many women have been wary of the treatment because they were concerned it would increase the chances of breast cancer. The FDA has long mandated so-called black box labels on the medication, warnings about stroke, blood clots, dementia, and breast cancer. But the FDA is now considering removing some of those warnings.
This is a public health priority, and this is a sign that the FDA sees that.
Dr. Mary Rosser has been Kalman's doctor for 5 years.
Is the fear of the risk of breast cancer fair?
It's been overblown.
Dr. Rosser believes flawed research from about 20 years ago overstated the risks of breast cancer because that study focused on older women. As today's new study shows, timing matters. A woman's age when she begins hormone therapy, along with dose and delivery method, can substantially mitigate risks.
Generally, when would a woman begin hormone therapy?
So we have said to begin as close to the final menstrual period, and then you continue until about the age of 60.
Insomnia is not as bad as it used to be, but
Dr. Rosser spent the past 9 months working through the risks and benefits with Kalman, who has a family history of breast cancer. She says she's still hesitant, but she realizes hormone therapy may be her best chance at relief.
I'm hoping, even if I do it only for like a year or two, that there is an option for me that can help me in the short term.
Nikki Batiste, CBS News, New York.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, a mayor fights back against impeachment with a petition for judicial review.
And we're keeping an eye on scattered storms to our west and storm chances we have later today. I'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, visitors headed to Branson might want to look for alternative routes due to bridge construction.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:32. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday and it is September the 17th. Man, I woke up this morning thinking it was Thursday.
I don't know
the days
why.
have felt
off. I thought it was Monday yesterday. I don't know what it is.
Something's been weird this week because I've been about a day and a half ahead.
Yeah, it feels like
and
it.
It's and we're not, sadly. It's not Thursday. It is Wednesday, but that's okay. We're all getting through this together. Maybe it's the coffee. I'm making the coffee now. We talked about it yesterday. Maybe it's the coffee. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. I'm not putting anything in it. Other than coffee, I'm just saying maybe I'm just not making it to the right standard. Well, that's all right. We'll get through this week together again. Hopefully your coffee is better than the coffee I am making. And weather, well, we've got more rain chances out there. We're going to start with a live look downtown Pittsburgh. Now, we discussed it earlier. It's something I hadn't really touched on since we got into pop-up storm season, if you will, which is when we get into the hot months of summer, we get pop-up storms triggered by the daytime heating. And when that first started, I reminded folks that we can get those into low-grade severe status. Didn't mention it yesterday. And we had that severe thunderstorm warning. We had that severe thunderstorm impacted parts of Cherokee and Ottawa County. And so it was kind of that reminder to me as that was going on to remind you folks at home that while we have no severe weather risk areas highlighted today, nor did we yesterday, the pop-up storms, while they're by themselves, can occasionally reach low-grade severe status. So do just keep that in mind as we head through the day today. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as well. So Skywatch storm tracker's clear. We're watching this massive outflow boundary. It's come off this complex of storms. So far, it's triggering new storm development back behind it, but this outflow boundary is one of the most well-defined I have seen in quite some time, and it's pretty big. Usually, they come off, you see them for a little bit, in a few sweeps, and then they disappear. But it's holding its own, and so we're going to watch as it gets closer to see if it could potentially trigger any morning thunderstorms, especially into our northwestern counties today. Otherwise, the expectation is we're dry through about 4, and we start with some isolated pop-up storm chances. Then as we go later into the evening and overnight, those storm chances increase, becoming scattered overnight tonight. We're at 66, both Joplin and Pittsburgh. Quick look at temperatures around the region. Again, most of us in the mid to upper 60s. We've got some low 60s out there. Veneta's still the cool spot at 62. Lamar and Yates Center tied up for the warm spot at 67 apiece. We'll be in the mid-60s as kids head out the door and into the upper 80s, near 90 by lunchtime, low 90s as they head home. It's where our highs are headed. Mid-70s by 9 a.m., upper 80s by noon, and low 90s for our highs again today, with those pop-up storm chances steadily increasing and becoming scattered storms overnight tonight. We'll talk more about our thunderstorm chances tonight and tomorrow and how our weekend is shaping up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So members of the Carl Junction City Council met again last night, but this time in a closed session to discuss the vacant mayor seat and legal matters with their attorneys. Now in August, after hearing intense testimonies from city employees about alleged workplace harassment, the Board of Aldermen voted to impeach Mayor Mike Moss and remove him from office. The mayor has since fought back, filing a petition for judicial review. Mayor Pro Tempore Holly Levine confirmed after last night's closed session meeting that no votes were taken during their private discussion. A statement from the city's attorney also indicates the council cannot move forward with appointing a new mayor just yet. The attorney called last night's special meeting to fill the vacancy premature while the impeachment process is still ongoing. Well, the McCune Brooks Healthcare Foundation and Here for Carthage break ground on the Colpin Family Pavilion, the future home of the Carthage Farmers Market and a new community gathering space. Yesterday, the community gathered to celebrate the project, which is funded through major gifts from local foundations and trusts. Organizers say it will provide a permanent venue for farmers, families, and community.
We've just been working so hard and trying to make the right decision for the city. So seeing this happen, it just feels like a labor of love. We've really poured our heart into it.
They hope to be up and running by April 1st of next year. A traffic alert if you're headed to Branson. MoDOT is working on 2 busy bridges over Lake Atanacomo. One project kicked off this week. The second gets underway next week. More details from Adam Woodbray.
2 busy bridges in Branson getting a facelift. This is all part of a $2.2 million project across the area. These 2, spanning Lake Atanacomo, are getting rehabilitated. The first part closed the Branson Landing Boulevard Bridge on Monday while crews resurfaced the roadway and traffic was flowing again on Tuesday. Work on the upper bridge, the Business 65, will kick off on Monday, and that work isn't slated to be finished until mid-November.
It's also getting substructure and superstructure repair, which is kind of like changing the oil in a car, right? It's preventative maintenance so that the roadway doesn't deteriorate any worse, right? So the bridge is in good condition.
According to MoDOT, during the first 30 days, there should be little to no impact for drivers as the contractor will mainly be working below the bridge. That part is expected to wrap up around October 17th. Then the bridge will shut down completely for the next month.
We have a lot of traffic out front every day, so I'm sure they'll do their best, just like they did in the downtown area with that being shut down.
Kirsten Pollard's office is right by the bridge. She says she saw an impact with Monday's closure.
It did for some of my employees. She took about 15 minutes to get here just because of traffic being shut down. So it does affect our commute in the morning, but I don't know how much it's going to affect our clients.
I'm usually first knowledge because I can have a direct line of sight out the window almost to see when the traffic slows down or backs up like that, absolutely.
Jamie Bacon also works right by the bridge. He says most of his business is done online now, so it won't impact him too much, but he recognizes it's a popular route for drivers.
And I personally, if I was having to deal with that, I would look for alternate routes to get from, where I needed to go to minimize the traffic.
MoDOT says there will be a signed detour along Route 65 and Business 65. Again, the work on the upper bridge begins on Monday. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An anticipated rate drop has many aspiring homeowners in the area wondering if now is the time to buy. We have some expert advice. Plus, back to school shopping drives retail sales up 0.6% in August. We'll have the latest. Time now, 5:38. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. In Consumer Watch, President Trump has taken executive action for a 4th time to extend the deadline for TikTok's U.S. operations to find a new owner. That new deadline now pushed to mid-December. The president signed the order on the heels of the Treasury Department's announcement that U.S. and Chinese negotiators had agreed to a framework on the popular app's ownership. President Trump says he plans to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping this Friday to firm everything up. Sources tell CBS News that tech giant Oracle and investment firm Silver Lake will play a role in a consortium of companies that will allow TikTok to keep operating in the U.S. Oracle founder and chairman is Larry Ellison, father to David Ellison, chairman and CEO of Paramount to Skydance Corporation, which is the parent company of CBS. Well, back to school shopping helped boost retail sales by 0.6% in August compared to July, according to the latest Commerce Department report. That's the third straight month of gains, allowing sales declines in April and May. And Target is expanding its next day delivery by the end of next month, adding 35 additional cities across the U.S., including Cleveland, Orlando, San Diego, and St. Louis. It's part of Target's strategy to compete with rivals Amazon and Walmart. Target says it plans to add another 20 cities next year. The Federal Reserve is expected to cut its benchmark interest rate tomorrow. This will be the first interest rate cut since December. You might be asking, what does this mean for mortgage rates? Experts tell us not much. It's a misconception that mortgage rates will drop. Tomorrow's rate decision has more of a trickle-down effect on your credit card payments, car payments, and equity lines of credit. Well, new test results from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety show a bigger isn't always better. 7 electric vehicles were put to the test to see how they perform in collisions and avoiding pedestrians. Chris Van Cleve has the results.
In tests simulating a crash between vehicles traveling in opposite directions at 40 miles an hour, 4 of the 7 vehicles tested, the BMW i4, Chevy Blazer EV, Tesla Cybertruck, and Volkswagen ID Buzz, earned good ratings. The Tesla Model 3 earned a passing acceptable, but 2 have room to improve. The Nissan Ariya SUV rated marginal because the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety injury metrics showed a high risk of chest injuries to backseat passengers. And the Ford F-150 Lightning earned the lowest score, a poor rating, because the rear-seated dummy showed a high risk of chest, head, or neck injuries, and that dummy's lap belt moved from the ideal position on the pelvis onto the abdomen.
That is not something we want to see in any crash.
IIHS Vice President Raul Arbelais.
The common sensibility is a big vehicle like a full-size pickup should do well in a crash.
Most people think bigger is better, heavier is better, and certainly we had that with the Ford F-150 Lightning. The vehicle structurally holds up really well in this crash, but fell short in protecting the rear seat position.
IIHS also looked at pedestrian crash avoidance technology, and most performed well. The BMW, Ford, and Tesla models all scored top marks, joining the Ariya with good ratings. When it came to headlights, 5 of the 7 earned acceptable ratings, but both the BMW sedan and the Cybertruck had some lights earning a poor rating. Automakers, including Nissan, say they are evaluating the results and will continue to work with IIHS in all matters related to customer safety. Ford adds safety is a top priority. We are always working to continuously improve. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Los Angeles.
For more on what the automakers say about these test results, you can go to cbsnews.com. And that's it for Consumer Watch this morning. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, again, we have got some clear skies out there to start. We'll start going partly cloudy before too much longer. Thunderstorm chances increasing as we head through the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. Details when we come back.
The nation's largest fast food chain is making an investment in U.S. ranches. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. McDonald's is investing more heavily into regenerative agriculture on cattle ranches. The fast food giant saying it plans to invest $200 million over the next 7 years into the practice. Now, the company has also funded similar projects on potato farms in Canada and Europe. Such practices aim to conserve water, enhance soil health, and reduce the need for synthetic chemicals and fertilizers. There's a plan to reopen a Virginia plant at the center epicenter of last year's deadly listeria outbreak, but some lawmakers say they want answers first. Democratic lawmakers sending letters to Boar's Head deli meat officials, summoning them to answer questions before a federal food safety committee. Now, the plant was closed after listeria-tainted liverwurst killed 10 people and sickened dozens. Officials with USDA lifted the plant's suspension back in July. And Buffalo Bills fans can cheer on their favorite quarterback while eating fruit from his family's farm. New York State grocery store chains Wegmans and Tops both are selling cantaloupe and honeydew from a farm owned by the family of Josh Allen. The family has grown melons in California's Central Valley for over 3 decades. Now, the family is selling its fruit under a new label, JA17 Allen Family Farms. A portion of the sales go to charity. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agworld.com.
All right, here's Chris now with the full look at your forecast.
Yeah, we have some patchy fog out there this morning that we've got to deal with, and you can see where we've got reduced visibilities: Parsons, Pittsburgh, Miami, Grove, Anderson, Nevada, Stockton. Really a number of locations with reduced visibilities. But we have denser fog through parts of Crawford, Cherokee counties back into Labette County and south of Neosho as well. And then, of course, Ottawa and Delaware counties, we have fog around the Grand Lake area. So just remember, low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them, and to slow down. All right. So in our area, there's not much going on. What we're watching is, wow, I think this has actually gotten a little bigger. And I'm going to tell you exactly, if you haven't been with us, I'll tell you exactly what looks like it's gotten a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have this thunderstorm complex. First off, this is how this has been the last few days, at least when it comes to me coming in here at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's never played out. It hasn't played out hardly at all this week, as the model data has suggested. All of this back toward Dodge City shouldn't be there, but it's there, so we'll see how that works out. We have this outflow boundary. Take a look at it. It stretches from right around our Skywatch Storm Tracker banner all the way back down northwest of Wichita into north central Oklahoma. This is an outflow boundary. It's been kicked off by these storms, and outflow boundaries are kicked off as these storms kind of decay or they start to collapse a little bit. They push this out, and occasionally you get thunderstorm development along that outflow boundary, which so far it's been limited behind the boundary, but you can see how far it spreads, and it has triggered new development back up through there, and it's stretching back into Oklahoma, and it is getting ever so closer to our neck of the woods. So what we'll be doing is we'll be watching that outflow boundary. We'll also be watching this development that's been taking place down here south of Hayes and around Dodge City, because like I said, the data this morning, this section of this wasn't supposed to be there. It didn't show up on the data. This did, and it added actually, excuse me, pushing off to the north and east and missing us, but helping to draw in the energy for our storm chances later today. So there's a lot to watch. So we'll keep an eye on what's out west and see what happens with it. Assuming it dies out as is expected, then this is what we're looking at. We should be dry through the morning until about 4. In fact, yeah, so through the afternoon as well. Then we start initially with some isolated to widely scattered pop-up storms, but as the evening progresses, we get more organized, scattered thunderstorm activity that'll start pushing into the area overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Now, these storms are scattered, so you can see it's not rain everywhere all at once, but nearly the entire area has at least a chance of rain. As we head into our the overnight hours tonight and throughout the day on Thursday, we'll continue with these scattered showers and storms, then finally winding down by the late evening and early overnight hours. You can see by 9, they're now to the east of the 69 corridor into southeast Kansas, and they're now pushing off to the east here. So that's the expectation. The other thing is like yesterday, we have no severe weather risk areas highlighted. None. But those pop-up storms can occasionally, because they're by themselves, they can tap into some extra energy. They can occasionally, like we saw yesterday, reach low-grade severe status. So it's something you want to keep in mind out there. And the big thing to remember with the storm chances later today is when thunder roars, head indoors. All right, partly cloudy through the morning, upper 60s to start, mid 80s by 11 a.m. Our highs today into the low 90s, upper 80s tomorrow. Rain, cloud cover possible on Friday, keeps us cooler, near normal, low 80s. We heat up a bit through the weekend, more storm chances out there, and we stay above normal, but not significantly above normal through most of next week. Let's check your forecast. We've got more right after this.
A mother bear and her 2 cubs were caught on camera confronting a man by his truck at the Wild Oaks Resort near the Smoky Mountains when the man backed away. The mother bear grabbed his cooler and made off with it, showing once again why it's smart to keep your distance from wildlife, even on vacation. Well, Justin Bieber, Sabrina Carpenter, and Karol G are set to headline Coachella 2026. The festival announced its star-studded lineup, including DJ Anima, Teddy Swims, Young Thug, Big Bang, and Cat's Eye on Tuesday. Coachella returns to Indio, California for 2 weekends, April 10th through the 12th and 17th through the 19th. Tickets go on sale September 19th.
I think I should get down that Justin Bieber look, that pose he was doing there. The angry look back and forth, just continuously. Yeah, I don't have a hat. Tim, our director, mentioned I need a hat. I don't have a hat. That was just very interesting. I don't know what he was doing, but okay. Well, Coachella sounds like a lot of fun. And what is not so much fun is, well, we get thunderstorms that get a little rough sometimes. That's what happened yesterday. So a reminder, while we have no severe weather risk areas highlighted today, the pop-up storms that we initially see later this afternoon into the early evening could potentially reach low-grade severe status like they did yesterday. So something to keep in mind. Of course, the big part with any thunderstorms is when thunder roars head indoors. Now through the morning, depending on what plays out with that activity to our west, we should be partly cloudy. We should also be dry, near 70 by 8, mid-80s by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs into the low 90s, and after 4, we start seeing initially isolated to widely scattered pop-up storms, and it won't be until, say, 9, 10 o'clock that we'll start to see this build in coverage and become more scattered storm activity, and that'll continue overnight back into the mid-60s. Scattered storms throughout the day on Thursday, and I mean throughout the day. They won't be out of our area until almost midnight. We'll be in the upper 80s with more rain chances heading into the weekend. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.